everything really depends on the Russians at this point. I mean, I've been here for 2 weeks now evaluating the Russian order of battle, the ability of the Russians, if they actually do invade, to see how far they could get.
As we all know, this is a very delicate situation, and what's clear and what's obvious is that the whole Euro-Asian continent, Europe has been rife with conflict for hundreds, thousands of years. They just can't get along because there's so many countries that are so close to each other, nations that have had history of once being much bigger than they are now or much smaller than they are now. So there's always conflict over territory and what can be done with that territory to influence the rest of the world, whether that be via trade or military posts, just having control over certain types of land. So what's obvious is that Putin wants Ukraine, and it's not going to be something where he's just going to totally turn his back. That part of the world is going to change, and whether all-out war breaks out or not, this is going to be something that we all need to pay attention to because it's going to impact each and every one of us. And I really don't even want to imagine what Republicans would be doing right now if they were in office. Let's not even talk about that. But again, right now, we don't need to go painting, the Russians as big bad commies. We don't need to be fear mongering about using that situation to say, oh, this is why we can't have universal health care. This is why we can't make, just better access to education. This is why we can't do anything that makes any sense because look at Russia and, look at Russia's history. And there's undoubtedly a whole lot of that coming because, again, the conflict and the tensions over in that part of the world are going to continue to rise. And the entire world is involved with things like NATO and just really keeping that tension as low as possible because Russia is no pushover. They've never been pushovers. They've always been about it. They've always been tough, and they're one of the world's superpowers. So, this is a very delicate situation, but this is absolutely going to be used to say things like social programs don't work because look at Russia. This is also a really good case study for people to pay attention to. So what can happen to when two countries with completely different political systems and structures coexist right next to one another? Is it possible? Sure, it's possible, but there's definitely going to end up being tensions because the way of life and the way of governing is, completely opposing to one another. And obviously, as we know, Russia's history with Ukraine, Russia, especially under Stalin, being huge, as big as it once was, that drive for Russia to expand, whether Putin is in office or not, it's always going to be something that's there because Russia's always going to remember its history. And, it's not just, thing of Russia. Germany did it in World War II. They wanted to expand back out to their empires. Empires always want to be back to what they once were. I mean, look at the United States. Look how big we got. We're not even talking about our history with that today. But this is just something that humanity's always going to have to deal with. Conflict. And as we know, there's too many people in the world. Our technology and our weaponry is far too advanced and powerful for us to always think that we can just punch the other person back harder. We have to get better at peaceful negotiations, and we have to think with more of an abundance mindset so that we don't go killing one another and destroying what we have under the false pretense that there simply isn't enough to go around.